Hey, and we are live. Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Damian, along with my good buddy Josh from the Self Defense Company and Bodyguard Concealed Armor Systems. And you are listening to you're one of the few privileged people to be listening live to the least, listen to podcast on the interwebs. Information to get with us is underneath. Just click if you want, like and subscribe. We post the content at least 2 to 3 times a week. And yeah, so what's you? Happy Halloween there, Josh.
Yeah, just getting ready for Halloween stuff. People, kids carving pumpkins and decorations and things like that. But yeah, my kids are getting all older. I was telling Damian before we got on the show, my kids are getting older. They're kind of getting that phase of like, maybe I'm too old to trick or treat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it does get, there's an uncomfortable thing when you go to the house and you're like, I remember, like, what the hell are you doing here? Right. You still want free candy, but who doesn't want free candy?
I know, right?
That's really, that's, as a kid, you're like, besides like Christmas, like Halloween was like, that was it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, less and less people participate now. And so it's like, when I was a kid, I'm sure the same when you were a kid, and you'd easily fill like a pillowcase and a half.
Yes.
Now you're like, oh, I got my 5 handfuls.
Right. And you're like, you go out again. And you're like,
yeah.
Sweet tarts. You're like, doing crap. You're like, who want if you like all that kind of like sweet tarts and like the necklaces, and like you were in heaven because somebody always got them and nobody wanted.
Yeah. There's always the candy people didn't want, and you're like, whatever, it's sugar, I'll eat it.
100 grand, or back then was $100,000 bar, Snickers, Baby Ruth, not so much Three Musketeers, of course, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, Butterfinger. It's like you're getting those, you're like, yeah, awesome. And like, the candy corn stuff, I'm not really, but it was like chocolate brand, M&M, Mars, Nestle. Come on, hit me up. Crunch Bar.
There's this one year I was probably like 11, and we went to this one house, and it was like kind of late, and like their lights were kind of hard to see, and you're like, I don't know if this house is participating or not. And we went up to the door anyways.
Yeah.
She was like, oh my gosh, you're the only people I've seen the whole day. And she had king size candy bars, and she was like, yeah, she was just like, here, take like 4 each. And we were like, oh my gosh.
What?
She was like, I don't know why nobody's coming. We were like, oh, it's kind of hard to see your light.
Oh, right, exactly. Just switch masks. Pull it back. Yeah, we were kids. We used to have. Did you guys have mischief night the night before?
No.
Okay. Yeah, we used to. Something weird, being from like a certain area in New Jersey around Patterson. My dad would call it Goosey Night. No idea. Sounds completely inappropriate. Like really? He said, I'm a kid. I'm like, what the hell? I was either cabbage night or mischief night. And then some people would be like, oh, Devil's Night or whatever. I never heard that until the Crow movie. So, and it would go out, you would go and you would do mild vandalism around the town. So we would have like one year we had it was like kind of like a block war where we just like, it was like my family and like a couple other families against like 4 or 5 other families. And we just like got in the street and like hurling vegetables and water balloons at each other. And the parents were there and no one got in a fight. Everyone was friends. Everyone knew each other. You would just go. And then, there came a point where people were like, screw this. And they came over to like our side, and it was like, we did that. And I'm like, nobody bothered us. And at the end of the day, it was just basically fruit and crap, and stuff got myself. It's like, oh, yeah, right. Nice, Clayton. Why don't Jehovah's Witnesses celebrate Halloween? Because they don't like strangers coming to their door. Nice. So, that was a big deal. I remember, there would be like undercover cop cars, and that was the other thing to like put like shaving cream on stuff and soap people's windows. It wasn't they're throwing an occasional egg. I think the egg was like of course
the limit.
Yeah. Like the high end of but then of course there were kids that were doing some like vandalism, lighting stuff on fire and crap like that. But for the most part, it was that, and then it just, no one does it anymore. Occasionally, some kids will like TP their own house. Like, all right, kind of like, what's the point? But I get it. Then when I don't know, do you guys have like trunk or treat?
We do, yeah. Like my church and stuff, we do trunk or
Yeah.
treat and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. I get it because
Yeah.
not everyone houses are doing it. And then when our kids, so we had that, and that was pretty solid growing up because I lived on a block, and there were like 3 blocks like right next to each other where I live. So everybody's got something. There was very few houses that didn't participate. And then
That's how my friend's place is now. And so we all just go there and hit up that little subdivision, and like everybody participates. It's nice.
It's usually there's a couple streets down Allendale and one on the upper side of the river. Then we used to do Boo Fest. So a couple of friends of ours would basically sponsor this thing, and we'd all buy tickets for it, but they'd have like a band or a theme, like Scooby-Doo dancers. I mean, it was crazy. And then like all the houses would participate in it. And then afterwards they'd have like pizza truck. I mean, it was like it was nuts. Right.
That's cool.
Yeah. So our kids like growing up had like a good like grasp on Halloween. And then they went to middle school, which was good in town over here, Ramsey, which is nice because it's a smaller home community. So it's like normal. Our house is like, we're on like a kind of an acre lot, and we're like a smaller lot where we are. I mean, most of the houses are like 2 acres or more. So like nobody's walking up those.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God. So yeah, they had really, my son and I were just talking about this. They had really good. It was nice to have those memories of, they do the trunk or treat thing. We do the Halloween canteen that Angela would run at the school, and then they do Boo Fest. So it was like this whole like through 2-3 days of just sugar and nonsense, but it was fun. But now it's like also brings you up to a point for people always talking about Halloween safety, and then you brought up, might as well something we should probably talk about.
I know last year we did.
Yeah. So, if you're, I don't know, some of what the latest trends are, but I mean, most people keep an eye on their kids. I mean, I think if you're in a crowded neighborhood, you've got a lot of people that that are coming in and out, the inherent stranger. The one thing you always think about is like, well, like home invasion, right? So you've got a lot of people that are coming onto your property that you're not normally used to having there. Now, would somebody kick in the door when you've got like, there's a chance of like a group of trick-or-treaters come into the house? I don't know. Maybe not. But, maybe it's good to have something like, pepper spray, like next to your door, when you go up and you see somebody that's there that you don't recognize. I mean, especially if you're looking at like, if you're in an apartment building, you have to think about how quickly you can get isolated from the outside world. So if you're in a city or an apartment, you've got kids that are coming in and out. Now that you've got, adults, that could be moving around. So things that normally you would think odd are normal, which would be strangers knocking on your door. Right. So there's that. I'm like, kids, really, at this point, if you're not prepping your kid for, managing their personal space and, you're inspecting candy and things like that. I'm like, of course there's like, people out there, but for like the razor blade thing and, poisoning candy, I don't recall offhand of like a report of that. Not saying that it's above anybody, what anybody would do.
There were definitely reports in California of it happening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like on the news. Like when I was a kid and stuff, it was like on the news and stuff. Like, this mom found razor blade in her kids. Yeah, this mom found razor blades in her kids' thing, or this, that, or whatever. And so there was always like 1 or 2 instances, just enough for everybody to be like, "Beware, this is happening."
Right. I'm like, you would inspect candy, look at, especially when I had young kids, I would just look at it to make sure it wasn't opened or tampered with.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part,
Those people that always want to give like popcorn balls, you're always like, really? You know, nobody's gonna eat this.
No, and this is not even making it to the Christmas tree. You're basically handing an ornament over for a child to.
No parent's gonna let them eat that.
I don't think I've ever attempted even to put a tooth to that.
No,
I don't know. I imagine how it would feel, but I don't know. Who's eating that?
I don't know. I saw them for sale at the store, and I was like, I mean, store bought somewhat better, I guess, but I'm still not going to let my kids eat it.
It's got to be hermetically sealed. It's got to be in its own individual wrapper, man.
But even still,
I know. Yeah, exactly. Even if it's the best cornball in the world, I mean, it's a cornball. You get the name for something. So yeah, I just said I miss it. I do. Just the year I think Angela just put out a pumpkin. We don't get anybody at our house. If somebody shows up, I'm gonna give them like Staples, a piece of steak. Here you go. Here you go.
When I was a teenager, I lived by this very affluent area. I was poor. I lived in the poor area that was like a mile away. But there was like these $30 million mansions and stuff, a couple of miles from my house. And there's this one dude every single year. He probably doesn't do it anymore. It's been so long, but he would open up his house and he would have this room, and in the entire room would be floor to ceiling of just stuff. And people would come in and you were allowed to pick one item. And there would be like PlayStations in there and Xbox.
What?
Yeah, dead serious.
He's giving away consoles?
Yeah, it was like first come, first serve, and there'd be a line. People would try and get there like as early as they could and line up outside his door. And there'd be like a mile long line of people waiting to get in this dude's house.
Did you ever get in?
I never went because I was like, I'm not waiting in no line when I can just go free candy,
Right.
But I had a bunch of friends who went, and they're always like, no. By the time I got there, everything was gone. They're like, they got like a big like Walmart bag size of candy. They're like, I got that, but it wasn't a PlayStation. They're like, but I saw kids walking out with PlayStations.
Oh my God, dude.
And I'm like, geez.
Yeah, that's
when you know you have some money.
Right. I'm gonna give strangers just so you don't crush my house or blow anything up. Just leave me alone. That's like definitely good faith paying it for, so none of your shit gets messed with.
Yeah, it's like your fire insurance.
Yeah,
nobody messes with this guy's house. That guy gives away PlayStations.
Yeah, right. Exactly. No one's messing with you. You got to get out of jail free. That's nuts. That's nuts. So the biggest thing we got is someone giving away like king size Snickers. I'm like, damn, it's like thing's like half a pound. Okay.
Yeah.
So we really didn't decorate, and we're really not doing anything. I think a couple of years, last year, was it last year, year before? I don't know, we did something, we had something, and then this year just no. And then so all right, with that, let's take a look at some hate mail.
That's my favorite part.
No.
I'm so glad we do this now.
I know. I love it. All right.
I was telling somebody at work about it, and they were like, really? And I was like, oh, it's so good. And I was telling them about how you do like the white belt comment and stuff like that. And they were like, oh, that's awesome.
All right. So this was on one of our club strangles from the front. I just, the first guy, liked it. The second guy, I don't understand. He was laughing. Yeah. And I don't know what that meant. And then the last guy's like, give me a club and I'll show you a better technique.
Okay. What's his better technique? Did he describe it?
Cool. Again, like when we do this stuff and I just like bring this up, we're just like showing like one technique for 30 seconds. It's not the absolute best technique in the world. It is a technique and we're just demoing it. And I said to him, I'm like, you want to, I go, post something. I go, I'd love to see it. I don't care. Again, you're watching, like when people look at your stuff, they're automatically thinking that, especially
this is it.
This is it. This is all I see from this guy. Yeah, right. That's right. I have a bunch of them. But when I was a white belt or a yellow belt and even a black belt, I thought certain things that just really, really, really weren't true. So, like nobody grabbed my wrists. Like, I'm not going to be able to, flip somebody around by their finger, and all that fun stuff that we believe in, that when we get into martial arts. And, this will lead me into my diatribe. But again, when we comment like that, though, it's just a good way of breaking people's balls. And, I know it pisses them off because everybody thinks they're doing stuff. You're commenting for two reasons. Mainly, and I think of the other one, mainly is because you don't like, what you have going on. One, so you're very unhappy with something. I mean, because people who just negative comment, it's just that there's something about that mentality where you constantly feel you have to point out what's wrong with the world. And the other is like there's an exaggerating sense of ego and knowledge, where I like to poke fun at that. So if somebody thinks there's an expert and I call them a yellow belt, I know they're yelling at their screen, and I'm just, that just makes me happy. And I have a problem. I acknowledge that, but this is how I'm dealing with it. So yeah. So anyway, so when people look at a comment and they stay like that, they're looking at this like, this is the only thing this is what this guy chose to show. I'm like, there's like 600 and something videos up there. I'm like, we just show a lot of stuff.
The other thing I think when I see stuff like that is, it goes back to like, what kind of complicated, flashy technique are they going to show instead of just something really simple?
Yeah. I mean, if he took it and just batted a dude over the head, I'm like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, right. Like, you're right. That is a better technique.
And it's funny because you're using like, a lot of like the club stuff comes with, when people, police work, especially older, when they, older law enforcement, when they carried batons and nightsticks. I mean, you can do it with the, you can definitely do it with the retractable baton. I mean, again, I'm not like a huge fan of it because one, it takes, I mean, I know people like to have, it sounds cool when things snap out.
Yeah, it does.
Who doesn't like a switchblade? Who doesn't like cocking a shotgun? I get it, man. You flicker the wrist and that thing is out and you're like, yeah, I'm ready to do business. The problem is, I mean, some of them are heavier than others, and there's some that are well made and some that are shit, without a doubt. I don't like having the idea of doing the extra motion. I don't like putting it out there that I'm about to use force.
That's what I was just gonna say. You just telegraphed everything you're about to do.
Right. Now you can, most people will think, oh, once they hear that, that's kind of a warning shot. I get that. There's an argument there where you would get somebody who would be mildly combative to just kind of be like, once they hear it, just be like, okay, I'm done. Like someone racking around of a shotgun, it does have that effect for sure. But it's just, I like using both ends of the stick, the ends, the tips of it for driving a lot. Difficult to do with the ASP. And the, there's the fact is that this thing also can, it's locked out. Yeah. But if you hit the tip hard, it retracts again. So there's that problem. Even though some of them have weight, the nightstick has it just has a thicker, better feel to it. I think it can drive more when you hit, especially we do a lot of like the two-hand techniques. I mean, it's, doing a two-hand technique with the ASP, it works. It works okay. It just doesn't have that solid feel of a nightstick. So yeah. Anyway, so we're showing the strangle. Particularly that's, you're looking for somebody, in law enforcement. That was the funny when the guy's like, who has a club? I'm like, well, I didn't even get into, law enforcement tends to carry them. So there's that. So this I got from somebody. This was on the backpack. It's like just what the Mossad ordered. A huge, clumsy backpack that is readily accessible as body armor for their false flag operations. You could fit so many explosives and guns in those things. Now, I look at this as a testimonial.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like, what's hey, Masad, if you're watching, you want some? Damian will sell you some.
Right. I was like, yeah. I was like, looking at that, I was like, okay, I know he's trying to be mean. I'm like, so the guy who's running that page, I'm like, just ask him how many he wants to order. I'm like, yeah. I don't think it's clumsy, but I mean, it can hold. Yeah, it's got armor, and you could put some ordnance in there.
A huge clumsy backpack. Yeah, that's somebody who doesn't use like backpacks really, because I've worn some pretty big clumsy backpacks, especially as a military person.
It's a backpack. You know what I mean? It's like
just a backpack.
I love when people are like, "Well, who the hell wears backpacks?" I'm like, "Are you looking around you?
Yeah,
like ever?" That was a fun one. Yeah, Clayton writes PR-24 modern version of the Tonfa. Yes, I do like that, especially for the driving. Because the figure 4 works great with that configuration. I do like it for the driving. The thing is then, you kind of get away from doing, I mean, not that you would anyway. I mean, like the choke strangles and things like that, they're like added little things. I mean, the French strangle, it gets a little awkward. The best one out of them is probably going to be the ground pin strangle, where the dude's on the ground and you've got your club. And if you're not bashing him in the head and you want to submit him and hold him down, you can roll that club up under his throat. You can do that with that unit. Yeah, the reason why they left the PR-24 and they left the nightstick was because getting it out of the car is a pain in the ass. And they stopped using it. And
it's one of those things where it's like, if the officers aren't going to carry it, then why have it, right? Whereas like they get them a small collapsible thing that they can just add to their tool belt, and that's just one more thing that they've got.
Right. And it comes out, do I want to, it's the same old thing. It's like, do I want to pick something out of convenience or do I want to pick something that's more effective? Right. So, you're getting a lot of guys bitching about because every time a cop gets out of the car, and you get in and out of the car a lot as a cop.
Yeah.
So every time you get in, you're like taking out your nightstick, you're putting it in, you're going over.
I stole my dad's PR-24. I have it in my garage.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Clayton brings up a great point. Public, carrying the collapsible pond is about public perception. Carrying the big black stick is unnecessarily aggressive looking also. Yeah, I get that. And that was kind of the gig though. The dude's like flipping that nightstick. You're like, while walking on patrol. Yeah. You should probably, I don't know. There's two ways to do this. You don't want to have two friendly cops. I don't like the cops dancing in TikTok videos. What are you doing? Stop. Just stop doing it. I get it. You're trying to, hey, look, we're not going to kill anybody. Yeah, well, today. But I'm like, I want my cops to be cops, man. I do. Polite, professional, you don't have to be a dick, but you deal with a lot of shit out there, and every traffic stop could end your life. So while people are like, they get all upset, when a cop pulls them over, the guy's like pissed off and trying to do this stuff. You're welcome, Clayton. So, when a guy, gets all, he sounds pissed off, they're looking at him like, look, I'm like, you're getting pulled over once, maybe 4 or 5 times in your life. This guy's pulling over 4 or 5 people a day, and he's seen 100 training videos of cops getting shot going up through a car. So, that's what he's thinking. And it's your job to just convince him, I don't want to kill you, and I'm not going to do anything stupid. Here are my hands. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to reach to my glove box. Is that okay, officer? Yes. Okay. Right hand going. Just go nice and slow, open everything up, and that's it. So, yeah, I'm like, there's that, and then there's, everyone's just not wanting to be, it's just this, they got really just crappy PR. They really do. And again, obviously, being a firefighter, it's a lot different. I'm there, I'm not there to, I would be there to help you solve your problem, not because something awful happened. I mean, something awful happened to you, but not something on a personal level where I can impose my will on you and as a police officer and take your freedoms away, at least temporarily. So I get it. It's a power thing. But yeah, so hopefully, we'll get an order from the Mossad and that'll be great. Okay. Okay, yeah, this one's great. This is from the headbutt. How to headbutt without knocking yourself out. Randall writes, meanwhile, you now have 3 or 4 teeth stuck in your forehead. So much blood in your eyes that you can't see. I'm like, yellow belt level comment. I'm like, is that possible? I guess weird that you went for that scenario since this technique's trajectory would not produce that outcome. I didn't even write that correctly. So anyway, that's when you do it on your phone first thing in the morning. So you talk about headbutting somebody in the face and you knocking their teeth out. I mean, the way they would do it, a forward headbutt, kind of not coming into it. I guess maybe with a rising headbutt, in order to get their teeth stuck in their face, you'd have to come up like this, or their head would have to be back. Getting 3 or 4 teeth. If I knocked his teeth out with my headbutt, I would consider that a good result.
If you're headbutting, that's pretty solid.
Yeah. And if I've got worried about this and then blood coming down my face, he's missing teeth.
Yeah, he just got his teeth smashed out to the point where they're stuck in your head.
What is he doing?
He's also not having a very good day.
Right. I'll take the blood in the forehead over the $20,000 worth of dental work that I'm probably gonna have to pay for. But I just like these guys go through this. They look at something like.
Here's something else too. I mean, I don't know about you, but like the amount of skin between my skull and my skin and my skull is not very much, right? To have the teeth actually stick in my head, we're like talking penetration into the skull, probably.
Yeah,
it's more likely they're just gonna fall.
Right. And I'll probably get like some, definitely some scars.
Yeah, and that's highly likely, right? If you headbutt somebody and you hit them in the mouth, it's highly likely you're probably going to get a laceration on your head. You're probably going to get some blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, he's pictured like they go through, like they're like, oh, what's wrong? What can go wrong with this? Oh,
yeah,
this can go wrong with this. And it's funny. I should really just sit on these comments because the one where I'm just like, if I knock his teeth out with a headbutt, that's a fucking good day.
Man, this brings me back to just headbutts in general. I don't know why people want a headbutt. I mean, granted, there's situations where like it's the most viable option.
If you're just close and you got to create space.
Yeah, right? For sure. Like the one guy, the UPS driver that was commented, right? Like for sure. I'm not saying the headbutt's not viable, which is why I also teach it, right? Which is why we teach it, right?
Yeah.
However, there's a right way and a wrong way, which is why you said, how to headbutt without knocking yourself out, right?
Right. Because I saw another dude do it. And he's doing this, and you're like,
yeah, of course.
I'm like, that's, if you got to watch, like, and you'll see, like, street fighters that will do it, and it's like, bang, and like their whole body goes into it.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell was that? You're like, bang. Yeah.
They get the head whip from movies, like they watch too much Good Morning Vietnam.
Right. Nice. I was just quoting that the other day.
It's one of Robin Williams' best. Let's be real.
I know what. So, this is a funny story. We're on vacation, and we take my mom away with us for one of them, and we're sitting there, and it's like the last night. We're, like, okay, let's put, we're just kind of sitting around TV after cards, whatever, and I put on Tropic Thunder. It just comes on. Like it was like whatever. I was scrolling. I'm like, yeah, let me do that. Put it on in the beginning. And my mom's like, oh, what's this? And we're like, oh, it's a comedy based in, about filming a Vietnam movie. And my mom's like, Vietnam's not funny. And I'm like, okay. And then she proceeds to go into my cousin Vinny, who was a Marine he was the driver in a Jeep and he was on short time. They got blown up. I don't know if they went over a mine or, RPG, whatever the hell hit him. He died. The officer lived. And then another neighbor that died. So she starts going off about.
Good job, Damian.
Yeah. Well, I didn't catch the brunt of it. She all of a sudden turned to my daughter's boyfriend who was sitting next to her on the couch. And he's just trying to be as nice as possible. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, were you there? I'm like, so my, our nickname for my mom is Nani. So that turned into Vietnam. So there was like Good Morning Vietnam. The whole thing. But my mom, all of a sudden it was like full on like episode. I was like, holy crap. I'm like, no. I go, okay. I'm like trying to change the channel. But
right. I can't change it fast enough at this point.
Like, oh. But yeah.
Oh,
it was good.
Man.
Yeah. Good times. See what this one is. Okay. This also kind of bring me in. So.
Oh, we talked about this one last week.
Yeah, we did. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Done.
Unless it's the same comment.
No.
Rehashed.
Oh, this is one I just got today. This was on a Bodyguard ad post. Hey man, just telling you the facts. I worked my whole life and I've suffered some issues. Then the Biden administration came along. I love your material. I love your jackets. I love what you stand for. But you got to make them more cost effective for people like myself. There are hundreds, if not thousands of us that would have to mortgage our home to pay for this. When you're old, retired, your income is seriously fixed. I suppose, hey, thank you for your kind thoughts. $3.99 for a fully armored jacket made in USA Ballistics. Hardly a mortgage payment. Hey, but you don't have to. You can become a Bodyguard affiliate. I'm like, we pay you commission on every sale you make through your link. All you need to do is post and share, and that's free. So we'll see what happens. Look, I get people with lack of disposable income or things like that. There's certain things that, I don't even consider the development and everything that went into these, but I think for our jackets, the next closest one is at 3A. It's like $600. Definitely, It's like $100 to $200 more. So we're definitely the more affordable option.
Well, and people, it's man, it drives me crazy because people talk about how they want stuff for free, but then you offer it at like as low cost as you possibly can. And then people are like that, either they're like, oh, that's still too expensive, not realizing that like there's all these costs involved, or they're like, oh, this must not be valuable enough or like worthwhile enough because the cost is so low.
Right. Exactly. And that's it. And that goes for, when people are pricing your training too.
Oh, it happens all the time.
And you're like, look, I'm not a personal trainer. You're going to get, knowledge, and you're taking a course, and you're going to walk away with that knowledge after the course.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're, it doesn't matter if, I'm not sitting here watching you on a treadmill. I'm like, yeah, it's like you're getting something that you can take with you and share and move on. Yeah. So if you look at it from it, you got to look at it as an education standpoint rather than, fitness standpoint. And even then, but what I'll do here too is with people that complain about this, I give them the opportunity to be an affiliate. I'm like, if you love it and you don't have money, but you obviously have time to post, you can literally talk about it. I'll give you the stuff to post.
Be an affiliate. And then after you sell a few of them, then now you can buy your own.
Now you go buy your own. I'm like, it's not, so you're 1 of 3. I'm like, I'm giving you opportunity. You talk about, capitalism and, America and all this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, dude, here you go. It's not like you can. It's not like you can go down to the Ford dealership and be like, "Hey, man, I want a F-150, but I don't have 80 grand." All right, they're like, "Well, look, dude, you sell 10 of these, get people to come down." It's like then you'll be able to buy your own. It's not happening. Yeah. So, I just, when you're doing this stuff, you can't afford it, can't do that. We have ways to do it, but it involves, if you can't pay monetarily, then you're going to have to put some work equity into it. Yeah. That's it. No, but you want it affordable. What? $200? So the difference is $200, right? So, okay, so you don't get it this month, maybe get it next month, right? Maybe get it the following month. So, talking about a mortgage payment, yeah, look, rifle, high polyethylene American-made rifle plates are freaking expensive. So, $8.99 is pretty much the going rate for that. It's actually a little less. There are some that are a lot more expensive. Again, I don't know how many, some of these guys, they get into the weeds with the ballistics as far as, how many, hits it can round, hits it can take and all the other stuff. I go, at the end of the day, it's probably just going to take 1, maybe 2, and then you're maybe not going to get hit, or you're going to get hit in a place that's non-fatal. So, that's what happens. You saw it, in service. This is the reason why we protect this area and not everything. But anyway, when somebody, does this stuff, we give them the opportunity, and you're like, yeah, I'll never hear from this guy again. I guarantee it.
Sad but true.
I'd like to be pleasantly surprised. Okay, this I thought was an
we went over this one last week too.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. I got more stuff. Don't worry about
it. Show's over. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So I caught this. Stop sharing. Let me pull this up. See if I can get it up. Okay. Let's see. Got out fine with this. Okay, hold on. Let me just see if I can watch this on X. Oh, there we go. All right. You'll like this. So this is a bouncer in Baltimore, and this is what happens outside of the bar. So we're already outside.
Sure.
Can we not?
Sure. And good night.
Yeah, we watched this one already too.
Did we?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We did.
We did.
Oh, shit.
Where's George?
Where's George? Yeah, right. Did we go over the shot at PetSmart?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So let's do that one.
I should just let it keep going, and it would have been like deja vu for everybody.
Right. Right. Yeah. You're like, well, damn. So I'm like, all right. Share screen. Okay, woman shot and killed outside PetSmart after reports of an argument over not saying thank you. A woman in Texas was shot and killed after she allegedly asked another woman to say thank you. Tuesday, 1 p.m., Dallas police responded to a shooting call at 2500 block of West Wheatland Road. Authorities say 41-year-old name was shot several times by 22-year-old name, according to the news. Okay, this is the shooter. And yeah, according to the affidavit, the daughter told police that when her mother at Five Below, well, that's kind of your first mistake, but okay.
Hey, I love that store.
Yeah, I get it.
It's good for us poor people.
It's good for it's good for the holiday gifts too.
Yeah.
Pretty much it. I mean, like stocking stuffers and crap like that. But
Yeah.
according to an arrest warrant affidavit, Simpson's daughter told police she was with her mother at Five Below in the same shopping center as PetSmart. Simpson allegedly held the door open for Hampton as they were both leaving Five Below, and Hampton didn't thank Simpson. The 40-year-old mother got upset, and that's when the two women started arguing. So the mother held the door open for her. She didn't say thank you, and the mom said something. Simpson and her daughter went in the store and told employees they were being followed by Hampton. The 22-year-old then entered the store and started arguing with Simpson's daughter. Okay. Hampton then left the store, returned several minutes later. Never a good thing, by the way. When someone leaves and comes back, they're looking for you.
They obviously went to retrieve something.
Right. Yes. Simpson then continued arguing with Hampton, which turned into a fight, and they were asked to leave. While in the parking lot, Simpson and her daughter were getting into their vehicle when Hampton allegedly threw a drink bottle at their car. Simpson walked to Hampton and continued arguing, which escalated into another fight. Daughter told police that her mom struck Hampton several times while yelling at her to leave her alone. Daughter stepped away from the fight, and this is when Hampton allegedly fired 3 times at the 41-year-old woman. She's taken to the hospital after she died. Yeah. So she got arrested for. So
this story is wild. What? This.
Yes. So I hold the door open for everybody. I'm sure you do too. I don't expect a thank you. I could even care less. I do it because I'm a nice person. Yeah, living the gangster life. Right. So, I mean, the mom looking for a thank you, she's already looking to start shit. You know, again, obviously nobody should get shot over this, but, you know, you're entering into altercations that are just unnecessary.
There were so many points in this where the mom could have just left.
Yes. Yeah. Like as soon as you start arguing and fighting, you know, at that point with me, it's time to go. You know, because of this reason. You know, I always share the story of one of the kids who actually lived in Saddle River, but I knew their family from wrestling. He was this was like God. It's like 40 years ago. 40 over. Oh God, man. Yeah, a long time ago. Almost like 45 years ago. He was up in like Boston in a bar, got into an argument with a guy. They shook hands. That was it. The guy left the bar. And then this kid went out and met the guy in the parking lot. Thought it was over. It wasn't. The dude stabbed him to death. So his, there's a memorial to him outside the church in town. So, you know, the fight's not over until it's like you're gone and the threat's gone, period. You know, I can't tell you how many times we drill that in, you know, during the course of our training. I'm like, the fight's never over. You know, you step on some guy's shoe, you feel bad, you say, I'm sorry. You know, you may think it's over. Who knows what that person is, who that person is, you know, what kind of day they're having. You know, now, if you have any altercation with somebody, you gotta keep your eye on them or leave, period. Now this, you've got no time, especially when she threw the bottle, did she call the police?
No.
Right? I get it. You know, my car, get it. I know how I would, you know, feel and want to react. I want to go for sure. But now we look at these things and see how they escalate. And this is the time we take to talk about it. Right? This is what this is for. So, you know, you've got first point of contact was the thank you. She said something to her. She shouldn't have said something.
So it's probably like, what? No, thank you. You know, like,
or you're welcome. You know, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then, okay, they get into it because you put it out there, it's going to happen. So then they argue in the store. There's a break point because she left and returned several minutes later. Now they're arguing again, which turned into a physical fight. Now they both got kicked out. Again, I'm shocked that store didn't call the police because that's what you do. This is not, you're not there to you'll have security at Walmart for sure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're there to call the cops. You just call the cops because if you put your hands on somebody, you're going to get in trouble because, you're working security, depending on what agency you're with and what you're doing. For the most part, they don't want you touching anybody. You can't restrain anybody anywhere. You're basically a citizen. So, you have no arrest authority. There's that. They're in their vehicle.
And then she gets out of her car to then argue with her some more, get into another fight.
Right. And apparently the mom was beating the shit out of the kid, out of the 22-year-old, because she felt pretty confident going back in for another round. Stepped away from fight, and then Hampton fired 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if she gets a good enough self-defense lawyer if it'll end up justified. Because, if she's being struck,
Possibly, yeah. She could say, oh, she was driving her vehicle at me. I'm sure they got video. I'm sure they got video camera. It's really going to come down to what happened outside in the parking lot.
Oh, for sure.
And then the mother, but then you got the mother exiting the car and then fighting again.
That's what I'm saying. She came back at her aggressively, right? So then, now the lady's being struck who shot, right? It says Hampton. No, it says the mom.
Simpson is the mom, yeah.
Simpson struck Hampton a bunch more times, trying to tell her to leave us alone, right? And then she gets shot, and it's like, well, if you're striking somebody multiple times and you're coming at them aggressively, man, it'll be interesting to see how this one ends up.
Yeah, definitely, because it's not this isn't simple cut and dry.
No, it's definitely not
self-defense. Assault or murder, because it is escalated. And if she's legal to carry the firearm,
well, in Texas they have constitutional carry, so
she just can't be a felon.
Exactly. She just can't not authorized to have a gun.
Right, which probably is. So she probably not. So it's going to be interesting, and I don't know if people are going to like the outcome too much.
No. No. And here in Texas, the self-defense laws are like pretty lenient.
Yeah. So we got this. This was a home invasion that was kind of apparently thwarted. I'm trying to figure out if it's legit or not. But this family never met. Okay, whatever. So. Okay, it's just music. Okay, so a vehicle coming by. How? Her reaction time is suspiciously fast.
Yeah. Like, you don't just all of a sudden that happens, you just dash for your door and lock the door. Dash for your door and lock it. Like, that's
this
weird.
Is not, this is getting viral, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like,
she sees it. They pull
who's filming it? First off,
now she's like, oh, no, I gotta go.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, this is fake. What camera is that? It's not a Ring. Yeah,
well, it's definitely an outdoor camera, though.
No. The kid, what's he pointing at?
It's like as they're pulling up, she's already scrambling for the thing, and like they haven't even stopped yet.
Yeah, no.
So like, what was her clue that something was going to go on?
Nothing. Because she told them to come. This is not real.
And then they tried the car and then just drove away.
Right. Check for the car. I'm just like, Mother,
He
fucking
sees
Spanish
it. Oh,
little
I'm
boy.
ranching in. Oh, I know. I need to go.
Yeah. And no one does that. You know how many, it could be, you're looking at, it's like, is that an Amazon delivery? Is that, who is that DoorDash? Is it the wrong, you have the right address?
And then they just looked in the car and said, no, it's not here, and got out, like left. Like, I don't understand what they were doing.
Yeah. I mean, normally you would get in it and put your foot on the brake and press the button if it's a button start in case they
Or
left
rifle
the key
through something. Like, they're either looking for something incredibly specific, right? He looks in. Nope. Time to go.
Yeah, no, that's bullshit. So, yeah. Fake. So, yeah. But, people think like this, and they're filming it, and this happens a lot. This is what your reaction, this is a good reaction, but it's not a realistic reaction.
No, a realistic reaction is the car comes around the corner and they start speeding up and then slam on a stop, and you're like, what's going on?
Right. Yeah. You're trying to figure
and then they get out of the car, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should get in my house.
Yeah. Did I win something? Like, what the hell's going on? I'm always thinking the damn Amazon drivers, dude, those people, God bless them. Only because I'll say, I'm like, they're coming to my house, like they're coming at like 2, 3 in the morning. And I think somebody is like coming to my, I see somebody coming up my driveway. Right. And yeah, OODA loop, Clayton puts out. Yes. Right. So, you got to assess what the hell you're looking at before you can make an action. And this is like, get back to that video you're looking at, woman is, not doing any of that.
No, it's purely, she's just rolling with a preset situation.
Yes. Right.
It's like the advanced version of somebody grabs your wrist. What do you do?
Right. Exactly. In reality, they roll up that fast on her. She's not getting in that house. So anyway, so the Amazon drivers, they come up like, all times of night, and I'm like, holy crap, man. How many times are these people getting, I don't know if they're getting shot at, but guns pointed at them? Probably a lot.
Maybe, yeah.
Like the UPS driver from, last week. Yeah. I'm like, shit, that's it. So, yeah, man. I'll wait to get into the other stuff next week. So what do you got going on this weekend?
What's this weekend? I might be going to Houston for the weekend. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any family for what?
Yeah, my aunt and uncle's down there, and then the youth at my church are going to go visit the temple down there. Gonna do some stuff down there, and so they need some drivers and things like that. So I'll probably go down and then hang out with my family down there, and yeah, I think that might be my weekend.
Nice. Yeah.
And then obviously Friday is Halloween, so we're gonna do whatever. So
Friday I'll be doing nothing. I think I'll do that. Yeah, I think we'll do that. We'll carve pumpkin. And then my son's coming in for the memorial for my friend that had passed. And he's coming in Saturday and he's leaving Monday. And we're starting to get into Thanksgiving and the holidays.
I forgot I am teaching a emergency preparedness class this weekend as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. We hear about it. All right. Clayton wishes safe travels. Okay, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another fun-filled Killer to Kill podcast. Again, guys, if you have videos or anything, you can post them in the comments. You can email it to us, off the website, or if you have a topic you want us to talk about, go right ahead. We're always looking for stuff. See a video or an event out there, let us know. Again, thanks for joining us. If you can, remember, like and subscribe, or not, it's all cool. Again, Josh, thanks for joining me. Until next time, everybody, train honestly.